National Institutes of Health, which last year proposed to amend their mission statement to exclude the word disability, saying it, quote, could be interpreted as perpetuating ableist beliefs that disabled people are flawed and need to be fixed. Let me take this moment to go on record. Folks, if I am ever struck blind or deaf or paralyzed, don't praise me. Fix me. The woke think the #1 job is to protect homeless people from stigma. I think the #1 job is to protect them from rain. When Adele lost weight, she was excoriated for betrayal. To who?
The left is furious yet again. And this time, who's in their crosshairs? The very people actually trying to tackle the issues weighing society down. Yep, you heard that correctly. In the universe of the far left, only they are allowed to do good or provide solutions. Everyone else is instantly branded a fraud or a poser hungry for praise. Absurd, right? That's exactly what Maher thinks too. The outspoken comedian cut right through the far left's theatrical outrage, and honestly, it was comedy at its best. Grab some popcorn because he didn't bother holding back. Let's get into the show.
Post reporter tweeted, what truly needs curing is society's view of disabled people. And BuzzFeed agreed, Mr. Beast seems to regard disability as something that needs to be solved. Okay, disability is something that needs to be solved. And what truly needs curing is blindness. Here's how I know this. The newly sighted people are cheering, not booing, because Mr. Beast, whoever the that is, just cured them and you didn't do. You know the expression, or go blind? You didn't either.
Maher doesn't sugarcoat anything. He goes straight for the throat. No soft landing, no build-up. He calls out a pattern the far left repeats constantly. They alls never actually help anyone. Yet the moment someone else steps up, they rush to cancel them with Olympic-level speed. Their latest gripe? That someone doing good shouldn't film it for YouTube. But Maher fires back with the obvious point. Where do they think the money to help even comes from? From YouTube. Posting the videos isn't vanity, it's the very thing funding the generosity. And here's the twist. If he had money and chose not to help, the far left would attack him anyway. It's a lose-lose because their outrage isn't about morality, it's about dominance. You can't satisfy people committed to being offended.
They love nothing more than being a victim, except when they really are one, and then they tell you, I am not, go yourself. Get this. Last month, Mr. Beast, in another dick move, funded the construction of 100 wells across 5 countries in Africa to provide clean drinking water to 500,000 people. Good thing, right? No. Not good, bad. The founder of a charity called Face Africa called it kind of frustrating that overnight this person comes along who happens to be a white male figure with a huge platform, and all of a sudden he gets all of the attention. Yes, but you know what else is frustrating? Dying of thirst.
Exactly. The woke left is permanently offended and pleased by absolutely nothing. Mr. Beast's humanitarian work in Africa should have been universally applauded, yet somehow an NGO got upset because they think he's overshadowing them. Seriously? If someone is doing the same work you claim to champion, bringing water, building wells, improving lives, wouldn't teaming up be the smart approach? Instead, their reaction exposes something much less noble. They don't want him involved because his presence shifts the spotlight. And when the spotlight moves, so does the funding they've grown used to. And once the funding disappears, so does their influence. Their outrage isn't about ethics or impact. It's about losing control of the narrative and the attention.
How dare he come in and bogart digging the wells? That's so white guy. Always taking fresh water and shoving it down our throats. Oh, another thing this asshole did in Africa was pay for the rebuilding of an African orphanage, which the director of the Hope and Homes for Children charity called it a classic case of white saviorism. So true. Ask any orphan to name the worst part of their life.
The more you think about all this, the more shocking it becomes. Society's problems were never going to be solved purely by governments or self-appointed far-left heroes. Real improvement always required individuals, ordinary or prominent, stepping in to help. That's exactly what Mr. Beast is doing. His work in Africa isn't some overblown case of white saviorism like critics claim. It's simply answering real needs ignored by governments for decades. Clean water, basic infrastructure, and essential resources aren't political toys. They're fundamental human needs. And when someone finally steps up to provide them, the focus should be on the lives improved, not on nitpicking the motives of the one giving help. Mr. Beast isn't replacing anyone. He's filling a void that should never have existed.
How did we get to this weird place? Telling people who are actually out in the world making a positive difference, you're the problem. Yeah, quick question, who the are you? And this isn't only the media and the people on Twitter who exist to bitch, always finding something. He just did it for the clicks, or for the wrong reason, or he should have done more, or sooner, whatever. You signed X. No.
Ma's words land hard, sharp, direct, and impossible to dismiss. And honestly, he's right to call it out. Who exactly are these far-left critics who think they possess the moral authority to judge anyone's kindness? It's almost hilarious. They refuse to lift a finger, but the moment someone else acts, they swarm in to cancel, condemn, and complain. No matter how genuine the effort is, they'll still dig for negativity as if it's their profession. To them, every good deed must hide some sinister motive, unless they're the ones doing it. Then it becomes pure, noble, and immune to criticism. Ma exposes this contradiction perfectly. His point is simple. Good shouldn't be attacked just because it didn't come from their ideological club. Good is still good, no matter who does it.
Of Health, which last year proposed to amend their mission statement to exclude the word disability, saying it, quote, could be interpreted as perpetuating ableist beliefs that disabled people are flawed and need to be fixed. Let me take this moment to go on record. Folks, if I am ever struck blind or deaf or paralyzed, don't praise me, fix me. Don't sit around talking about how much I'm just as good as you. Fix me. Do something. Use AI.
Ma's right, and he doesn't dance around the truth. People living with disabilities don't need performative speeches, shallow hashtags, or woke slogans that celebrate them while leaving their real struggles unchanged. What they truly need is practical support, medical care, accessibility, opportunities, and tools that help them overcome obstacles and fully participate in society. Ma argues that empowering people to improve their situation isn't offensive, it's humane. Yet somehow the far-left outrage machine twists real help into an insult, as if providing someone a path to a better life is an attack on their identity. It's absurd. True compassion isn't about empty praise. It's about removing barriers so people can thrive, grow, and live with the same freedoms as everyone else.
Faking this time of year between the presents you don't want to buy and the presents you didn't want to get and the goodwill toward men that lasts until January 2nd. I just don't have room for, and disability is awesome. It's not awesome. And it's not a political affiliation. That's the problem. We turn everything into a political identity category. You're deaf, that's your identity. Don't mess up a good thing by hearing.
Ma's right, again. Everything today has been politicized to the point where even disability has been turned into an identity badge. Somehow, nothing can simply be itself anymore. Everything must be fitted into a political narrative or trendy cultural frame. And of course, this trend didn't appear by accident. It began on the left, where every problem and every group was rebranded as an identity category. They created labels for everything: homelessness, illness, immigration status. Nothing remained neutral. Instead of addressing genuine problems with workable solutions, they turned people's lived realities into ideological trophies. And now disability has been pushed into that same arena, treated like a political emblem instead of a human condition needing real care, empathy, and meaningful support. Ma points out how ridiculous it becomes when common sense is replaced by identity theatrics.
Excoriated for betrayal to who? She betrayed the unhealthy? The woke have even turned the homeless into a political identity group, as opposed to liberals, old school liberals, who just want to get them off the street, which now is seen as kind of judgy, like, don't disturb them in their natural habitat.
It's the same mindset toward homelessness that helped worsen California's crisis. Instead of supporting concrete solutions, treatment, shelter expansion, rehab programs, and policies that reduce homelessness, the woke activists fought real action. When officials tried clearing dangerous encampments, activists stormed in yelling that the streets and tents were the homeless population's natural environment. The absurdity would be laughable if the consequences weren't tragic. Leaving people in unsafe, filthy, degrading conditions isn't compassion. It's negligence disguised as virtue. By blocking practical interventions for ideological purity, they trapped people in the suffering they pretend to oppose. Instead of helping the homeless escape the streets, they helped them remain there. That's not empathy. That's enabling misery while acting morally superior.
The bridge. The woke think the #1 job is to protect homeless people from stigma. I think the #1 job is to protect them from rain.
The first duty of anyone who truly cares about the homeless is simple: get them real help and get them off the streets. That's the baseline. Once they're in a safe space, away from violence, disease, addiction triggers, and constant survival mode, then you can focus on fighting stigma or rebuilding dignity. But trying to protect them from stigma while leaving them in tents is completely backwards. It's putting the cart miles ahead of the horse. Keeping people in unsafe encampments just to appear compassionate isn't kindness, it's moral posing. Real care means addressing root issues: mental health, addiction, unemployment, lack of support, and helping people reintegrate into society. Anything less is just pretending to help while suffering continues in full view.
When I did the Ice Bucket Challenge back in 2014, I thought I was helping the cause of funding research to cure ALS. Wrong again! An op-ed in Time magazine said the Ice Bucket Challenge even seems to be suggesting that being cold, wet, and uncomfortable is preferable to fighting ALS. It was suggesting no such thing. What is wrong with this country that so many people can't be happy for anything, for even a...
Ma rightly argues that woke culture has become a collection of wet blankets, always ready to smother anything uplifting, fun, or inspiring, especially if they weren't the ones behind it. If they're not involved, suddenly the whole thing is problematic, offensive, or deserving cancellation. It's almost comically predictable. Everything is wrong to them unless it comes from their ideological circle. They've turned nitpicking into a sport, behaving as if they alone decide what's moral and everyone else is clueless. Ma tears into this hypocrisy, pointing out how the woke don't just dislike things they didn't create, they actively try to shut them down. Instead of celebrating kindness, humor, or progress, they're busy inventing reasons to be outraged. In the end, he reveals a clear truth. The woke movement isn't about progress or compassion. It's about control, outrage, and gatekeeping. From canceling those who actually help to politicizing disability, homelessness, and altruism, their moral showmanship constantly blocks real solutions. Joy, generosity, and practical action are only acceptable if approved by them. Everything else gets attacked. Ma's critique reminds us that common sense and genuine help shouldn't be punished for not fitting a political script. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.